Welcome back. Do you feel that? It might not feel like it, but Nintendo's next console's reveal and release are so close now. Nobody knows if this is the time that they break the curse. Starting from the N64, Nintendo has known quite some whiplash when it comes to their sales numbers. Smooth sailing with the N64, a little bit of shrinkage when it comes to the GameCube, huge, infinite cosmic growth with the Wii, into the smallest ever major console release, into what the fuck numbers with the Switch. And therein lies the curse. Will Nintendo break free of this eternal ping pong match? Now, everything is looking good, don't get me wrong. The leaks we've seen and the communication we've gotten indicate that we will be getting a Switch 2 next year. A continuation of Nintendo's most popular home console by far. Seems like a slam dunk, so we are right to be excited. There's always that shadow that looms around the corner. What if it's bad? First off, I'm really excited about the Switch 2. Partly just because I like new tech stuff, and partly because of the impact the new Nintendo generation has on the world. Okay, the world might be a bit much, but at least in this gaming bubble. In here, Nintendo can either be the big dog, claiming most of the money and the attention to itself, or they are the weird fringe third party, claiming that actually they never wanted to play with the other consoles and developers. There's a lot to be said about the Wii U era. But one of the defining feelings a lot of us had back then is that among the big three, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo kind of felt like the afterthought. A lot of people were kind of embarrassed about admitting that they spent their money on a Wii U or that they were still playing a 3DS. It seems insane now with how much the Switch has dominated, but that era wasn't that long ago. A lot of people remember it well, and that's why this coin flip aspect is on my mind. We could lose our momentum if Nintendo isn't careful. So come with me as we explore the possibilities of either side of this coin flip. I've divided this video up in 3 parts, so let's get started with part 1, the form. If the leaks are to be believed, this is the most PlayStation 3 into PlayStation 4 move Nintendo has ever done. Grab a working concept, iterate on it, and then release a more powerful version. On the one hand, there's a quiet, tiny voice inside me that's kinda sad that we'll have to wait an entire extra generation to see what other innovative stuff Nintendo can come up with. On the other hand, though, it's the smart thing to do. And for a business that's been around this long, it's kinda crazy that this is the first time that they're doing it. In a practical and personal example, right? I run tournaments on Switch hardware. Right now, there is nothing that I want more than a simple upgrade that I can seamlessly fold into my current setup process, right? I don't know how many of you have been to a tournament running on Switch before, but these little things are a godsend. They are so tiny and they're so quick to set up. It's amazing. The possibility that the next Switch could be PS5 style huge and clunky is paralyzing. With the extra setup time, with the extra storage costs, that would drastically impact how many tournaments I could run. So, no wacky name, no wacky form factor, but maybe that's a good thing for the good people of our next part. Part 2, the consumer! Another reason why I'm so interested in the Switch successor is because last time they lost me. I was one of those people that bought a 3DS when it first came out. You know, back when that thing was so ungodly expensive that they had to slash the price by 100 euros. The first year or two, there weren't really any games for a kid my age, so I just kind of put it down. Compare that to the first years of the Switch. Man, that first trailer got me so interested in gaming again. That thing, it looked so unique and cool. If you compare that to like the release of the Wii U, 13-year-old me didn't really get that it was a separate system, to be honest. Maybe that time away from gaming helped, but I was really excited about the Nintendo Switch. This time, it absolutely felt like a new start. So I bought a Switch and Splatoon 2. And then soon after that, I bought Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, and then. This is by far the most games I've ever owned for a console. And this isn't even all of it. Give me back my Pokemon Brilliant Diamond for Beast! I know you have it! The library at the beginning of the Switch lifespan is, in my opinion, one of the huge reasons why this system blew up so much. Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey in the first year, and then Smash Ultimate a year after that? That's like a lineup of games that you expect in the first 3 years of a system's lifespan, not the first 2. The question then becomes, will the Switch 2 be able to capture the same level of energy for its reveal if it's just a rethread? Will it launch with actual games? Nintendo famously held back Breath of the Wild to be available as a launch title, but now they are still pumping out insanely anticipated titles with no signs of slowing down. It is kind of fun to speculate with what games the Switch 2 will launch. Metroid Prime 4 seems like a safe bet, but what else? Like Mario Kart 9? A new 3D Mario? Aside from Prime 4, I think these will sell systems. But I hope for Nintendo's sake that they've got some bangers hidden for the reveal of the Switch 2. What if they repeat the Wii U's launch and have nothing else to show except for a 2D Mario? I think the momentum of the Switch might carry over a little bit and they might be able to sell a few million systems here or there, but once every diehard fan has bought the system and you convince no one else to switch over, you might be in for a bad time. Ugh. Oh my god, I'm sweating my arms off. I'm sorry, cat. I'll keep this PG. Part 3! The impact! I talked a bit about the impact that a successful or non-successful successor would have on Nintendo and its community. But I want to mention one other area that I think will be impacted if the console sucks. I'm so grateful for the fact that I can make a video about this here on YouTube and that people will probably watch it. And like, and subscribe. But yeah, being a Nintendo content creator has become way less of a niche thing during the Switch era. Like back in the Wii U days or any time before that, I felt like I found a shiny Pokemon every time I found a Nintendo YouTuber. And while it was a cool feeling to stumble onto a young Alpharad or a Nintendo for that matter, that barren wasteland is not something I would care to return to. A Switch 2 that performs terribly would not instantly have this effect, but over time I really feel like people would lose motivation if the audience just simply doesn't show up anymore. The realization that an Arlo or a Scott the Woz would not have been as big if the Switch had put up Wii U sales numbers is kinda crazy. Now of course this might also be the fact that Nintendo just stopped copyright striking everything that had just a drop of their gameplay in it, but you know, I think the Switch was also a reason for that. There's an entire ecosystem of Nintendo YouTubers out there that partially depend on Nintendo staying relevant to keep their jobs stable. The sheer amount of extra people that started watching Nintendo YouTube, maybe because they have a Switch or somebody in their lives has a Switch, has allowed people to niche down incredibly hard. Like for example, I love that my friend Max Monado can spend so much of his time just talking about the games that he loves the most. And listen, I'm not saying Nintendo content will instantly disappear if the next console loses the coin flip. I'm just saying there is a fear that if there are less Nintendo fans, less people will be able to make a living out of this. Part 4, the drop! In the end, none of us can see the future. These leaks might be real, or Nintendo might reveal that actually Alarmo was the Switch successor all along. I'm enjoying this period of uncertainty. There are lots and lots and lots of things a Nintendo misstep will have impact on, but you know, in the end, it is a multi-billion-dollar company with questionable morals, so even if they fail, we shouldn't feel that bad for them. Their track record with their games has always been stellar, even on less-selling consoles, so you know, gamers will be gaming. I'm an optimistic person though, like I actually have a lot of confidence in this new system. I don't think it will ever outsell the Switch unless it has a really good game library. In the last couple of years, Nintendo has proven that they know what they're doing, and I don't really see a lot of signs that that will change. Maybe I'm just naive, who knows? I think I'm ready for that coin to drop now. Alright, thanks for watching. It's gonna take at least a month or more for me to finish the next video, but I have amazing ideas for it, so subscribe and don't miss it.